to the $100 MBA Show, and today's a Q&A Weekends episode where we answer your question right here on the show. If you have a question you want to ask, just email us over at support@businessrepublic.net. As always, I'm your host, your coach, your teacher, Omar Zenhom. I'm also the co-founder of the $100 MBA, a complete business training and community online over at 100mba.net. And today's question comes from Vernon, and Vernon asks, how do you juggle two businesses/projects at once? Good question, Vernon. Yes, we do a little bit of juggling here, and I'll break down some of the strategies I use to make sure I focus on the right projects at the right time and try my best to balance it as much as possible. I'll also share with you some things to look out for when you're juggling a couple projects at the same time, because at the end of the day, we're still human. We can make mistakes, but we could try to avoid them if we know what to look out for. All right, guys, let's get into it. Let's get down to business. Today's episode of the $100 MBA Show is sponsored by Acuity Scheduling, our favorite scheduling app on the internet. Have your clients book you for your time on your calendar easily with Acuity Scheduling. Try them out for free for 45 days over at acuityscheduling.com/MBA. Again, get their free 45-day trial at acuityscheduling.com/MBA. To answer Vernon's question, how do you juggle two businesses or projects at once? I'm going to have to break down a little bit of my routine. So as you know, we run a daily podcast, the $100 MBA Show. We have our program, the $100 MBA, and we run a software company called Webinar Ninja. Now, I wish I could tell you that's all we do, but we do other things as well. We have smaller projects we do on the side. I do a lot of marketing. I do webinars. I get on other people's podcasts and try to share as much as I can to other audiences. I get on stage and speak at different conferences. So yes, I am juggling a lot of things. But mainly the two things that I constantly have to balance and juggle is the show, the $100 MBA Show, and our business with the $100 MBA, and Webinar Ninja, our webinar software. So how do I do it? Or what do I recommend for you to do? At the end of the day, I would have to say it's all about having a really good schedule. Being very disciplined about the time you dedicate to everything. So for example, for me, the $100 MBA Show is a huge priority. I got to make sure that we are publishing great episodes every single day. As you know, I batch episodes. I don't record one episode a day. I actually record a whole bunch in one sitting. So we have a lead time so I can have a day off or go on vacation, things like that. So for me, I have certain days of the week where I record. And it's the first thing I do in the morning right after breakfast. And I dedicate a block of hours where I'm recording the episodes. This is separate from pre-production and outlining. You know, I have a block book of time for recording because recording takes the bulk of the time. I need to make sure that the show is taken care of, that it's done. I could pass it on to post-production, to our producer, Nicole, and she can work with our editor and everybody else that's involved in getting the show published. But I got to do my part. I got to make sure that that's done. So those hours are blocked off. What hours do I have left? I dedicate days for Webinar Ninja where I work with developers, where I work with our customer service team, where I work on developing the software or testing software or releasing things or communicating things with our members. You know, I like to email our members personally. So I dedicate time for that on certain days of the week. Now, when things get really difficult are when there are additional things on our plate, like a speaking engagement, like an interview, like another project that I'm working on. I mentioned I'm working on Easy Course with Jason Zook. And this is where I really got to make sure I'm carving out time for these things. So with interviews, I make sure that I only have a certain blocked time once a week for interviews. So if anybody wants to interview me for their show, I'm happy to do so, but I have a specific time where I have to do it. And it's a dedicated time once a week for interviews. When I took on a new project, like the collaboration I'm doing with Jason Zook with EasyCourse.co, I looked at my calendar. I made sure that there was time in my calendar to do the things I have to do, my part of the project. And I would have to speak to Jason and say, hey, Jason, you know, these 3 weeks are really busy for me because I'm working on something really intense with Webinar Ninja, but I can dedicate the time to do this project this time. And we negotiated that and made sure that, you know, we dedicated the time to do it then. So it's really about scheduling. It's really about dedicating the time. It takes a lot of discipline to stick to your schedule, though. I mean, it's not just about setting up the schedule. It's also just sticking to it, where you look at your calendar and you actually do what the calendar says. A lot of us, we may take a little bit longer to do different things. And this is where you got to incorporate break times, or times just to shut off, or times just to browse the internet if you just want to check out what's going on in the world. You're not a machine. But I believe the only way you can juggle more than one project at a time is that if you dedicate a certain amount of time for each project. Block it out of your calendar like an appointment. You have to do it. Now, I know this doesn't sound fun or exciting or very entrepreneurship-like, but that's what real entrepreneurs do. That's what they do. They get disciplined and they stick to a schedule. I know people get into entrepreneurship because they want to have freedom and do what they want when they feel like. Well, things don't get done that way. You could definitely have the freedom and travel the world and have fun and be able to do that on your own time when you have the time off. But when you're building and when you're growing and when you're working on a project, you got to be dedicated to it. Now, ideally, I wouldn't recommend you work on more than one project at a time. Now, I've been doing this for some time now, so I've kind of worked out a system for myself. And I don't think that I will constantly be working on multiple projects at a time. At some point, and I already planned for it, I'm going to be able to dedicate more time to one thing than the other. So if you're getting started, if your first couple years in entrepreneurship, focus on one project, go all in, and dedicate the time. When new opportunities arise, see how you can carve out time, if it's even possible. If anything's going to suffer, then you need to think twice. That's just my personal advice to you, because I want to see you win and not let anything, fall through the cracks. Guys, I got more on today's topic, but before that, let me give love to today's sponsor, ActiveCampaign. Did you know that companies using marketing automation see 53% higher conversions than those using traditional email marketing? Get more out of your efforts when it comes to email marketing. This is why we recommend automation all the time on this show. And the tool we use to do email automation is ActiveCampaign. We've been using it for quite some time right now, and we're very happy with them because it's easy to use. You don't need to hire a consultant or a specialist to set it up. You could set it up yourself. And with their marketing automation, your campaigns can listen, learn, adapt, and respond based on the contact's behavior and as their customer profile changes. So you may want to send out different emails when they move from being a subscriber to a customer. We love ActiveCampaign because they are driven to make sure that you can treat your customers, your contacts, as individuals rather than just sending everyone the same message. These are people that really care about you and what you offer, and ActiveCampaign allows you to give right back and give them personal messages based on their actions. See why thousands are upgrading to a more intelligent marketing solution, and see why we use ActiveCampaign. Sign up for a free 14-day trial right now. No credit card is required. Just sign up right now so you're in there and you can check it out. Just go to activecampaign.com/MBA to get this free trial. Again, it's activecampaign.com/MBA. To wrap up today's answer to today's Q&A Weekends question from Vernon, how do you juggle two businesses or projects at once? It's really about time allocation. It's really about being disciplined about the time. It's not really fun. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not fun to juggle more than one project. When I say it's not fun, I don't mean like I'm not enjoying myself as an entrepreneur. I mean that it takes hard work. It's hard work to juggle two things. You have to dedicate a lot of mental energy to negotiate both of them, to be able to switch gears and focus on one at a time. And it's not for everybody. Some people like variety in their business. They like to do that. I mentioned Jason Zook, who I'm doing Easy Course with. He's somebody that works on multiple projects at a time. He's an extreme example of this case scenario, and he's really good at it. That's his bread and butter. He enjoys that variety. And he's able to focus on something for a short period of time, work on it, and then work on the next thing. And go back to the first thing as well. So you got to look at yourself. Are you able to have that kind of discipline and get to work? Do you like that variety, or does that give you anxiety? You don't have to do something you don't want to. And remember, if you're given an opportunity and you don't want to juggle both, you got to have to make a choice. Which one are you going to keep? The one that you're currently working on or the new opportunity? It's a good problem to have, but it's something you need to make a decision on. My advice, I would go with the project I feel I can add or make the most impact in. That's usually the right answer. The one that you can really move the needle, the one that your strengths can really make a huge difference. And of course, you got to enjoy it. So keep that in mind as well. Guys, I hope you loved today's Q&A Weekends episode. Vernon, thank you so much for asking the question. Guys, every weekend we do Q&A Weekends. If you have a question you want to ask, just email us at support@businessrepublic.net. We'd love to get to your questions every Saturday and Sunday. Tomorrow we got a question from April. April asks, do I need an SEO expert to work on my website? Great question. I chuckle a little bit because, SEO experts are constantly emailing people with websites, asking them, hey, I can help you with your ranking, hire me. And at some point, I think some people, we all question, should I get this person to work on my side? Do I need them? Is there something they can do that I can't? Is there something they understand that I don't understand? We answer that question in tomorrow's episode. Make sure you hit subscribe so you get it automatically. And then on Monday, we have a great guest teacher episode by Tom Hunt. He'll be teaching you how to hire the ultimate virtual assistant. Can't wait for that. All right, guys, before I go, I want to leave you with this. I want to stress this. You don't have to juggle many things at one time. You can just do one thing, and that's your bread and butter, and you focus on that. That gives you comfort. That gives you a feeling of sense of fulfillment. That's what you should do. I know a lot of us, we think that, in order to be a great entrepreneur, you got to have like 11 businesses and all these different projects and investments. You don't. You can just do one thing and do it well. All right, guys, I'll check you in tomorrow's episode. I'll see you then. Take care.